Welcome to SML Total Access, where we break down news, predictions, and more in our Madden League. Now, let's get fired up for SML football.
Hello and welcome back to the award-winning, longest-running show in the SML CFM community. I'm Primetime 000, joined by Matt and Dan. How you guys doing?
Doing good on this beautiful fall day here on the East Coast. Matt, what's the weather like over there?
Oh, it's pouring rain. Actually, the sky is gray, like your playoff chances, Dan. And hey, I know we were quiet for a little bit, but when the playoffs should come, so does TA. So glad to be back.
I'm excited. Let's go first. Somebody say
No,
something?
that's all right. That's all right. I'll let Matt have his moment.
All right. We'll talk plenty about that in a second here. First down. Hey, whose stock are you buying and whose stock are you selling? There's a lot of guys rising and falling right now, and you guys can just kind of pick somebody. We'll start with Matt.
Yeah, I as someone who likes the stock market, I put this in three categories. My blue chip, which is the cream of the crop, the stock I know is going to be good for a long time. My buy low, who's cheap right now that I think is going to go up, and then what am I just completely getting out of? So first off, blue chip. My blue chip since day one. I voted this guy to win the Super Bowl last season, and I don't even know if he made the playoffs. It's QB stud. I'm buying, and I'm buying more. Look, we saw what that team did to Dump, who, previous to getting the Bengals, made the Super Bowl one time. And coincidentally, it was in an extremely weak NFC with the Cardinals, with peak escape artist. And then he was just a good above average player. He gets the Bengals, he wins 2 Super Bowls as the cycle champ.
Yep.
I thought QB would come in, who, in my opinion, has a better resume than Dump. I think that's hard to argue. And I thought, God, he's getting the same team. He's getting the same, and he's not hitting the dev upgrades, but he's got Burrow. He's got set feet lead. And in this Madden, yes, set feet lead has taken a step back, but I feel like all other abilities have taken 10 steps back. So it's still the best. So I'm buying QB stud. Buy. I'm buying low on Straw. I think Straw he's got to be the bounce back candidate, right? This guy was one of the premier players in the league last cycle. Always a force, always in that 1, 2, 3 seed role. And he's in last place in an NFC East that's not even that good. So he's my buy low. And then what am I getting out of? I'm getting out of the NFC, man. I know I'll keep my my cheap Straw stock, but I'm selling every NFC stock I've got. Get me out of that conference.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think the NFC is the place to buy though. Because that's the easiest one to predict. I mean, this is a Straw KP or not Straw, sorry, Stavo KP NFC Championship game. I mean, unless they have to face each other earlier, which I don't know how the seeding's going because no one really pays attention to the NFC. But I mean, those are by far the cream of the crop in the NFC. So, I might not be getting a big return because it's obvious, but I'm putting a lot of money into those two guys. I'm actually the opposite of Matt. I'm going to I'm selling QB stud. I have not. He's got a nice record. But you look at his game, he should have lost against Doink. Doink had, a 1 second gate there or whatever gate issue there, and Doink should have beat him there. I beat him 31-3. Now, hey, everyone can have a bad game. That's fine. But I have not seen a real significant win from QB stud. So I am not going to be buying him yet. I think you're right, Matt. I think by the end of the cycle, sure. But I think he's still a few seasons away. So, I think and if it wasn't for last night's game, I'd probably be buying on Q. But that loss to Bomber kind of shook me up a little bit. I'm not sure what to say with Q right now. So, I think looking at the way the situation is right now, I think Prime's sitting in the best spot. But I don't know how easy his road will be. So. It's going to be interesting. I don't know who to really buy in the AFC right now because it's just everybody's just knocking each other's teeth out.
Yeah, and by the way, I want to publicly shame Doink for that clock management issue. I know there was some debate on whether or not, that second should have or he should have noticed that. But if he would have just simply watched SML the breakdown, he would have known better. And also, like, come on, man, like, take your time out. Like, you have him in your back pocket. Use your timeout. I have no remorse for Doink in that situation. Great guy though, smart guy, good basketball player, knows a lot of people. Just right there, I'm sorry, Doink. I don't have a whole lot of remorse for you. Buying or selling? I'm buying Woods, man. Say what you want, but in the NFC, KP I'm gonna buy, and Woods I'm gonna buy. Woods 6 seed, 8-6. He was like a top 5 pick last season. Well, guess what? Hop back up on that roller coaster because now we're going back up. I'm buying the lows, baby. And Woods, I think, has a legit shot at having a Super Bowl appearance this season, depending on how the matchups go. Especially if we could see a KP versus Stavo game early, then Woods only had to play one of them. Watch out for Woods. I'm selling Bomber. He just got a big win over QP. This is a perfect time for me to sell Bomber. I think he's at his highest he's been since Madden 2021, his stock. He's making first and goal again, which is awesome. He's kind of, it seems like he's back. I'm selling Bomber until he can win a playoff game or two. I'm out on Bomber stock.
Yeah.
Go on.
One thing I want to actually two things. One, QB. QB stud kind of worries me though as a stock. It's kind of like Tesla, right? Tesla's a great company, great technology, but they go up and they go down based on Elon, right? He's the meal ticket, and I think QB needs to stay out of chat when he's playing his game. Stop talking about animations and all that. Play the damn game. You're a good player. Just focus on the game. And then Dan said it's a Stavo KP NFC Championship collision course. This is a topic for a TA down the road. I just want to put it out there for the SML and for you guys. You don't even need to respond. Did we upgrade Bears owner as far as talent goes?
Wow.
I just hold on. Think about it. Let it stew. We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later. That's a good question. Let's move on to second down. Dan he's on a run. Some people thought he was done. Some people thought he hit a cliff. He wasn't going to make the playoffs. Now here he is. Dan, the floor is yours. What do you think about your run?
Well, this is a bittersweet kind of conversation because with talking about the run, you got to talk about the collapse there too. I mean, losing 4 out of 5 games is just unacceptable. And so my focus has been not on the run as much as it's been on the collapse. And and not only that, but collapse on defense, which is, supposedly my trademark. I mean, my offense is whatever, it goes and flows, but my defense is what holds me there. And I'm giving up 40 points to Damon and KP, and then, AJ just kind of threw all over me. And so it was just a bad, dark place. So, I'm at the point now where I feel like I've seen the light. I don't think I'm into it yet. I think I still got to stay focused. I got a tough matchup today against Fig, who history has said it was my first SML loss ever. And so I don't forget that. I don't take him lightly. I'm not looking past any of that. So until I can lock in that playoff spot, I'm not going to say I'm back. I'm not going to say I'm on a run. I'm not going to say anything because I got to win and I got to get in the playoffs before that can come.
Mm.
Yeah, with Dan's little skid, I wasn't worried about the losses. Dump, Super Bowl winner, he was just in it. KP, 1-1. Damon, divisional game, family game. But it was like Dan said, and it's how he was losing, 38 points, 23
weird.
points, 40 points, not like Dan. And then against AJ and the Chiefs. So I wasn't too concerned because Dan's the kind of guy that needs to form that identity, but he's not afraid to change that identity. Whereas I'm stubborn in mine and I will never change. Dan will change, but during that transition, he's going to find the struggle. Right? He's going to struggle because he has to refine that identity. He's not a guy that just goes into the game and ad-libs, right? And so when he was losing out of division games, that's where it concerned me because these guys don't know the creature of habit that is Dan like I do, like QB does, like Damon does. But then he bounces back. He smokes QB stud. He beats me, and then he beats Damon 3 games in a row. He goes through his division, which those are going to be tough games for Dan because I can almost call his plays for him. And I'm sure the other guys can too. So I do think that Dan is on the right track. He's got the mini bye here this week, and then he finishes with Prime and QB. But I think if he beats Fig, he's got it clinched.
Yeah. For me, when I look at Dan's run, I just want to, halfway through the season, he seemed like he was out of the playoffs. He was in chat. I think he even kind of halfway punted on the season, said he's going to reconvene. During games, he was messaging in chat. It just did not seem like Dan. He literally, I think he called himself a broken man. And then he gets on this win streak, and he's beating good players on this win streak too. It's not like it's just a bunch of check down games. You see some other key players, like QP's schedule was really light on this win streak he's had until he played someone good like Bomber, and then he lost. Dan's actually beating good players, and I just want to give credit where credit's due. I really do, and that goes to the coach. That goes to me. A good coach, he knows his players. Belichick knew the way to Brady, getting the best out of Brady, was not to give him compliments. Some coaches love on their players because they need that. I put an article out there. I trashed Dan publicly because I knew that would light the fire in him, because I think at the end of the day, I like to see Dan lose, but I also like to see Dan in the playoffs when I'm in the playoffs. And it's more fun for me. So, I do want to take some credit there for Dan's run he's on. And I hope that we have a playoff matchup this season. I know we have a matchup coming up here in advance or two, and that's going to be a fun one. But ideally, that playoff matchup is what I'm looking for.
I guess you got to take credit where you can, because it's tough to take credit with playoff wins lately for you. So that's fine. I'll let you take credit for being a coach.
Hey, my lowest is still your highest. Last cycle was my lowest in a long time, and I still had as many Simbardis as you have. My worst is still your best. Remember that.
Win a playoff game, then we'll be in the category this cycle.
You know who my last playoff game was against? It was you. You haven't beat me.
That's sad when that was 2 seasons ago.
Last time you beat me was April. We're in November.
Yeah. Remember, I control your destiny right now, so just
no, you don't.
That.
Nope, I control my own destiny. If I win out, I win.
Nope.
I'm the 1 seed.
Nope, you miscalculated. That's all right.
No, it's true, because you are. If you beat QB, you're 1-1 against them. You've already beat them once. Is that correct?
Yeah.
If I beat you, I'm 1-0 against you.
Yeah.
And therefore, the common opponents clause, I would have that.
I'm the only common opponent between you guys?
Well, we have. I mean, we've played like various small teams. Like there's 3 or 4 other teams we played that we've all beaten. But you're the one team that has beaten him. So if I beat you, then I would have that.
Gotcha. So I still control your destiny when I beat you.
Well, yeah, I guess if you look at it that way. I mean, but
yeah,
I control mine. Anyway, let's move on. This is the fun one here, I think. 3rd down. Who's in and who's out? SML's kind of a mess in the last, I feel like the last cycle or so, especially, even since they really added the 7th seed, I feel like this has become more of a thing than ever. Like the fight for the last seed and kind of that rush for that last playoff spot, especially when you think about, oh, this guy's giving out this forced loss and this is going to cost this guy or whatever. It always becomes a topic of discussion. Anyway, who's in, who's out? Anybody that's going to make an unlikely run? Matt, we'll go with you.
Yeah, so who's in, who's out? I'll start in the AFC, because why wouldn't I? I mean, I think it's between Gutta and Damon, and they play, I think, next week. Gutta's at 9-6, Damon's at 8-7. Of course, that would give Damon the tiebreaker over Gutta if he beat him. And I think, let's see, Doink has 7 losses, and Damon beat him. So Damon looks like he's in the driver's seat for tiebreakers. So I think it's down to between the 2 of them. I think Meats and Doink will figure it out for the division. Colt's got an outside shot. He needs Gutta to beat Damon and knock him to 8 losses, and then Colt plays Gutta, and so they could both end up with 7. Problem is, Colt plays Stavo in his next game, and I don't think that's going to go great for him. So give me the winner of Gutta, Damon, to win. And hey, this could be the second season in a row that Damon looks like he's dead, and he sneaks right into that 7 seed. And then over on the NFC, it's a lot more interesting. You've got a lot more teams fighting for spots. I think Woods at 8-6, he's the only one without 7 or more losses there at the bottom, sitting in the 6th seed. I think he just needs to win one, and he's in. I think he gets it. And then I think it comes down to NYT and Tampa Bay and Dom. And NYT, he does have Bomber, but I think he controls his own destiny if he can just win 2 of his final 3. So I'm going to go NYT. I think he sneaks in. And then my unlikely run, I mean, Prime, it's your stock. I think if Woods can get in, I don't know if there's an unlikely run in the NFC because nobody really stands out too much, but I think Woods is not playing great. And if you look at his wins and his losses, nothing really jumps out at you. But you get a defensive team and a talented team in the playoffs. We saw it last cycle. I think Woods might be your unlikely run there in the playoffs.
That's good.
Yeah, Matt, you did a good job laying it out. I mean, I still got to get one win just to get in. I think my advantage is again, I hold the tiebreakers on Damon. I've only got 2 conference losses, so I hold the tiebreaker on Gutta if that's the case. Same with Cold and other people. So I just got to get that one win. I think you're right on all those other things. I think it's basically almost a win and get in kind of move for Gutta and Damon. Although they'll have one more game, but pretty much that's a playoff game for them. And again, I hey, not just because he's in my house, but I don't think Damon's a guy you want to see wild card weekend. I think that Browns team is a legit team. I don't think you want to mess around with them. I think if you're looking at if it's going to be QB stud or if it's going to be QP or prime, whoever that 2 seed is, that's a tough 7 seed. So I think if you're rooting for somebody, I think Gutta. I think Gutta's the guy you want to play. Although Gutta can get hot, I don't think he's there yet. So I think you want to play Gutta. On the NFC side, man, gosh, I just can't see anyone other than Stavo and KP. I think I don't think there is going to be a run. I think it's those 2 guys. And so whenever they play, whether it's earlier or whether it's championship game, I'm just saying whoever wins that game, that's going to play. That's the team that's going to play in the Super Bowl. And I think both of them, if I remember right, they were in the same division last cycle in the AFC South, and I think Stavo gave KP all sorts of fits. So I think Stavo might have a chance here at making a run. Stavo's happiest day was when Dump left. Dump was one of his kryptonites, and so I think Stavo's just kind of licking his lips here, looking forward to this run coming up.
That's good for me. When I look at the AFC, yeah, again, just to kind of echo chamber, it's Gutta or it's Damon, both deserving players. Obviously, Gutta is a champion. Damon seems to be. I feels like Damon's playing better than Gutta, but Gutta's 9-6, and he has some good wins on his schedule. I mean, I think he beat Q this year. He's got some other good wins. He played me tough. Don't count out Gutta. I don't know between those guys. Obviously, they play each other, so that's going to be essentially a play-in game just about. I guess if I were to guess one, Damon's playing a little bit better than Gutta is, but I'm biased because I know Gutta longer, so I'm going to pick Gutta because of that bias, even though I think Damon probably would win the game. Unlikely run in the AFC if there's anybody. Nobody's talking about him. I don't think I've heard or I zoned out. I got the meats sitting there, 4 seed, Miami Dolphins, got the speed at receiver. He's probably going to play bomber round 1. After that, I'm not sure who he would play. Could be a variety because it's just going to be a freaking bloodbath in that conference. But Meats could have a chance at making a little run at this thing if he can win his division. NFC side of things, I already kind of gave my guy Woods the shout out. But NYT, he's 7-7. He is. I think he's going to find a way to get in. There's just something about NYT being in the playoffs. He's had some upsets before. He's got Tiny on the schedule. He can beat Tiny. He's got Mike on the schedule. He can beat Mike. He does have Bomber, and I think Bomber probably finds a way to win that game, and that's going to be a mess. But NYT, I think, can make a push and maybe win a game or 2.
Bomber's got nothing to play for, by the way. He's locked into the 5th seed. I don't think. I mean, outside chance, I guess he could catch you maybe, but no, he has more division losses, so he can't even catch you, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I think Bomber might be resting his players. That's something to keep an eye on. I guess he could. He's only 1 game behind you. So
if you beat me and he beats me the last week, then he could catch me.
Yeah. But I heard him in chat already kind of talking about maybe resting players. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So NYT could have an easy route there. Or Bomber might be saying, hey, it's going to be hard for me to get that 1 seed. I might be happy with playing Meats, or whoever.
Right. And that's, I mean, if you're looking to say, okay, I can win the division and end up playing me or end up playing Damon, or do I want to play Meats?
Yeah.
I think you're right. It might be a smarter play just to sit there at the 5 seed.
Rest your guys, get healthy. No, that's true.
Yeah, my concern with Meats is every team that's currently in the playoffs right now as we speak that he's played, he's lost to. He lost to Bomber, he lost to Dan, he lost to me, he lost to QB, he lost to Damon. So all of his wins are against teams that are not in the playoffs, and when you get in the playoffs, unfortunately, you got to play teams in the playoffs. So no, you only got you can go on a magical run. I've done it. We've all seen it, but I'm a little worried. But I that team is built for him to be able to do it.
That's true. We'll just have to see. We haven't seen it from Meats this year. He's taken a bit of a step back, I feel. Let's move on. Let's spread our love on somebody. Dan, who are you spreading it on?
Yeah, again, this will sound kind of biased. This will sound
don't take mine, Dan.
No, come on. Are you doing that?
Yeah.
All right. I'll pass on it. I'll let you have that. Okay. So I'm gonna just look around. I'm gonna look at. I'm gonna give it to Bomber. Okay. I was really kind of buying low stock on Bomber till last night. Bomber barely beat Knoll, I think kind of like on a Hail Mary, broken tackles kind of thing. And then, he lost to Colt. He really didn't have a real signature win. Not kind of the Bomber of old. The Bomber of old was just, good defense, kind of smart decisions, winning kind of games by taking away what the other guy does. And I hadn't seen that until last night. And I want to give him props for that. That's a big time win. That's something that can give him confidence moving into the playoffs. Q is again a very solid player. He's getting his groove back on, and he just kind of shut him down. And if Bomber's going to have success in the playoffs, he's going to go that route. So, hats off, Bomber, great win. And I hope to not see you in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna spread my love on Fig real quick because I accidentally called him a mini buy about 10 minutes ago, and I feel bad about that. So sorry, Fig. You're a good dude. But then I'm gonna go across the conferences here, and I guess I'm gonna toot my own horn a little bit. I'm gonna spread my love on the AFC North. We are one Damon win away from officially being the only division in the SML that will finish with every single team above 500. We are officially the only one that will finish with every team at least 500. So, big shout out to the AFC North. We knew this was going to be the best division in the league when the draft ended. It has proven last season and this season to again be the bloodbath that it is. Meats, we just talked about him. I think he put in chat, I hate the AFC North. He got obliterated by all of us except for QB. That was a close game. So hats off to the guys in my division. It's a great game. You're all really, really good, and we're all going to finish at least 500. I think Damon will put us all over 500.
That's good, Matt. I like it. I respect that.
Yeah, I respect Matt. I got to spread my love all over Damon. All over him. And here's why. When I look at his schedule, he had a stretch where he lost to the Bears, where he lost to the Bengals. He lost to the Bengals again. He lost to the Steelers. And weaker men would have folded. Weaker men would have folded. His dad is a legend. His dad's an icon. We all know who Dan is. I've called him Little D because he's in Dan's shadow. He gets called Brawny. He gets called all of these things. Back against the wall, like a junkyard dog. He plays double rice, no bean, who's a heck of a player. Or at least gets a force win. Regardless, he beat the Patriots. Plays Meats, gets a win. Plays Matt, gets a win. Sets himself up to now with 2 games left. If he can beat old Gutta, he's got Fig week 18. He's got a real shot at making the playoffs after such a tough stretch. And he's doing it without his young rookie wide receiver. And I'll take ownership of that. Unfortunately, got kind of just a terrible situation with the game not sinking the score. We haven't seen that in a long time. Lost his rookie for 7 weeks, and not just a 98 speed rookie, probably going to be the fastest guy in the SML in a couple seasons here. Yeah, and he's doing it the right way. I haven't heard any issues about him. He's doing it with a quarterback, Joe Milton, By the way, Joe Milton is 73 overall, normal dev quarterback. He's just going about things. He's beating guys. He's had quality wins. Dan, Matt, Doink, some really good players, and I just want to spread my love all over and on and in him.
Okay.
So
I lost my train of thought. Oh, I was gonna say, you make a really good point about him losing Godfrey, his rookie wide receiver, to a clerical error. Let's put it that way. Probably
yeah,
shouldn't have lost him, but he's not in chat sulking and making.
yes,
He's there's a lot of people that would. We all know who would do that, and he's not, and so he's being a model citizen. So hats off to Damon for taking that like a champ.
yes, he deserves to feel the love. Matt,
And Matt and I will say this too. If you haven't played him, you don't want to play him. I mean,
I haven't
that
played him.
combination of defense that he has with the players, but also his stick skill. I mean, he does not know the game. He doesn't know the ins and outs. You can kind of trick him on a few different things, but when it comes to stick skills, he's right up there with Dump and some of the best that we've ever had here in the
Wow.
SML.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. That bloodline of that family just still seems to be producing. I did commentate a game of another maybe future SMLer very impressive game I watched. Anyway, this little Easter egg for those at home. Matt, what's your Matt 5?
Yeah, so we're just going to go with the top 5 teams as they stand. Just little disclaimer, I am not putting the Bears on here. We have a shift in ownership, and this late in the season, I just didn't think it would be right to rank the Bears.
Yeah.
So at
Sorry,
number
sir.
5, number 5, I've got Stavo. Dan talked just a few minutes ago about Stavo licking his chops. You might want to lick his wounds first
Yeah,
because
lick 'em.
he has really fallen off. If this was golf, he'd have the yips. But he barely made this list. His wins over Dan and Prime early in the season before he had the yips, but those are wins. We don't discount wins. We don't asterisk wins usually. So Stavo, number 5, and the only NFC team on my list.
Wow.
At number 4, I've got QP. Look, he's been up and down. It's not the QP that storms into town and everybody pays attention. He hasn't had that kind of fear yet, but you can feel that there's a storm brewing, and I think he might be starting to get it back. A little blip against Bomber, but Bomber's obviously playing really, really solid. So watch out for QP. Just another guy I would not want to play at any point, but especially in the playoffs. At number 3, I've got Bomber. He's our 5 seed in the AFC, but if he was in the NFC, he'd be tied with the Bears for the 1 seed. So again, not trying to take shots at the NFC, but the truth is the truth. And Bomber's playing really good ball. He's got really solid wins. And so look out for Bomber. He looks to be on track. Now, he does need to get healthy. He needs to get healthy, and I think you guys talked about, meaningless games for Bomber. We could see him really, really go deep into that depth chart because he's been bit with the injury bug. At number 2, I've got this was the toughest one of it all. Obviously, we've got 2 guys that have the same record, and it's the best record in the league. I did go with QB, but I wanted to justify my reasoning other than Matt always has Prime at number 1. QB's losses, he lost by 10 to Dump, no shame in that, but he lost by 28 to Dan. Again,
Wow.
Dan, great player, no shame in losing to Dan, but absolutely throttled. So his 2 losses are by 2 scores. At number 1, Prime's losses by 3 to QP and by 3 to Stavo. Both of them on this list. So by nature of the point differential and the losses, I did put Prime at number 1. So before you tag me in chat, give me some credit. That seems like a justifiable reason to put Prime at number 1.
Also,
Yeah, I'll stand behind that. I stand behind that. I think you're right. I think that again, everyone has a bad game, but you can't ignore the fact that QB lost by 28. That's just
Yep.
that forces him to drop down to number 2. And hey, Prime's playing well. Not the hardest schedule, but it's not Cupcake City either. He's had some tough games. So, we'll see. I mean, Prime's been in this spot before, and hey, I've given him a lot of crap, and he needs to deliver when it comes playoff time. So I think that's where Prime's focus is right now.
yeah, 100%. 100%. Good list, Matt, and good show, guys. We appreciate everybody who's listened in. A little more challenges, I think, this episode than we've had recently, but it's playoff time. It's time to step up and see who's going to step up. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.